is Trey Lance simply not ready to play at all. There were packages for Trey Lance. They're gone. He doesn't play anymore. And Steve Young has been very outspoken saying that Trey Lance should be the starter. Sees himself in Trey Lance. This week he went on with Matt Mayoko and said, you know what? Everyone's asking why Trey Lance isn't playing anymore. I mean, all I can interpret from the way they're not using him, their actions, is that he's just not ready. I mean, what else are they telling us? They're saying with their actions that he's not ready for anything. Not to start, not to run, not for one play. No, not a package, not a nair, nada is he ready for. That's what Steve Young said. And that's what he said. Anyway, do you agree with his interpretation? And how do you interpret his interpretation?
I do, 1,000%. And let me take a moment to pause before we end the show, just to plug the show after the show. It'll continue on my channel after this, so head over there after Grant and I finish in a few minutes here. But to this topic with Steve Young, yes, absolutely. So my premise is that I don't buy into many conspiracy theories. I'm an Occam's razor type of guy. The simplest explanation is typically the most likely explanation. I believe that Kyle Shanahan wants to win football games, that Kyle Shanahan would do whatever he believes gives him the best chance to win football games. And I heard Steve Young reference that fact as well. So if that is true, then we have to look at if he had a player who he felt added anything to the offense, would he work that player in? I think you have to answer yes to that. So now you're saying that not only is Trey not ready to compete, but he's not ready to even contribute on those packages where he's coming in. Some compliment could be Kyle's inability to get in a rhythm, as he stated, but you would think there could be specific instances within the game that you would know Trey would be coming in, and therefore it wouldn't be much of a rhythm issue. You would define them clearly, and that would be proving to us that Trey adds value. Him not being on the field, your actions speak louder than your words. Mm-hmm. And that to me is a booming statement by not bringing him in for the 4 to 8 snaps that we all want every week.
Okay. I don't buy it, but here's the way I look at what Steve Young is doing. I think Steve Young is doing the reverse psychology that needs to be done on Kyle Shanahan. I think this is reverse psychology. Everyone's telling Kyle, you got to play Lance, you got to play Lance, you got to play Lance. What does Kyle do when people tell him what to do? The opposite. He digs in every time.
Yeah.
And so what Steve is doing, Steve's brilliant, and he's doing reverse psychology.
That's a fact.
Okay, all right. Kyle says Trey Lance sucks. Then I guess Trey Lance sucks, right, Kyle? Don't play him. Don't play him. He sucks. You're telling us he sucks. Don't play him. That's reverse psychology, because now Kyle can be like, whoa. I didn't say that.
Not saying Trey sucks.
Because hold on, he didn't say that. He never said this. The reason he said that he doesn't call plays for Trey Lance anymore, he blamed himself. The only thing he's ever blamed himself for, he said, you know what? I realize that I'm not good at calling those plays.
Right.
I don't do a good job anticipating what the defense. I'm not good at it. Sean Payton might be good at it. I'm not. That's what he said. I'm not good at it. I thought
that I'm a rhythm play caller, and that really takes me out of my rhythm.
He blamed himself. So why? Here's what he said about Trey Lance after his start against Arizona. Remember, he lost Arizona, but his QBR was higher than Kyler Murray's. He actually outplayed Kyler Murray, lost, according to ESPN. This is what Shanahan said after the game. I was there in the postgame press conference. Overall, I think we could have done a little bit better around him. I thought he did good enough to win. Then he said, I wanted him to go out there and play like he's been doing in practice and be comfortable to run the offense, especially in a tough environment like that, one that he's never been in before. For the most part, I thought he did it. So let me go back to my conspiracy theory. I do think that Kyle Shanahan likes Trey Lance. I think Kyle Shanahan's in Trey Lance's corner. I don't think the locker room is. I think the locker room has been on Jimmy's side for the entire time. And I think Jimmy has a stronger hold in the locker room than Kyle. And I think Kyle's afraid of losing the locker room. And so even though he likes Trey Lance, you got to play the quarterback that the team wants to play for. End of story. You have to. Unless you're Bill Belichick and you can be like, I have 8 rings and you're going to do what I say. Because Kyle isn't that guy.
I would dispute that in saying that winning is everything. If you're correct, if you're Kyle Shanahan and you've got an ego, which let's be real, Kyle's got an ego, and you believe you're correct. You believe that despite what the locker room may feel, if we're going down your premise here, that Trey Lance gives us a better chance in certain packages to complete these shot plays, to stress defenses, to win more snaps, to win more games. I believe his ego would prevent him from conceding to the locker room. I believe he would say to himself, I'm right, and I can show you I'm right. And once I've shown you that I'm right, then you'll be on my side. So to me, it very much speaks to his lack of confidence in the ability to contribute. I have to side with Steve Young on this one in believing that if Kyle thought Trey added anything, he would put it out there for the entire world to see, to show them that he was right, to show them what he can do with the new toy.
But it's been demonstrated that he had something. I mean, he's been brought in at the goal line twice this season. He scored touchdowns both times. He threw a touchdown pass to Sherfield in Detroit. He ran for a touchdown against Green Bay. It's been demonstrated. That's why I keep saying that it's not as simple as Occam's razor. It's not. And what I think is going on here is there was a plan. When they decided to draft Trey Lance, organizationally decided he's going to redshirt, we're going to play Jimmy Garoppolo, and we're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo because we have to get some picks back. And so what I think is pretty evident is the more Trey Lance plays, if he starts to like improve and outshine Jimmy Garoppolo, even if you make Trey Lance the backup still, you're going from trading a starting quarterback to a backup quarterback. And Trey Lance really is the biggest threat to Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value if it exists. Because now you can say he's a starting quarterback in the NFL. We brought in Trey Lance. We thought he'd be great, but Jimmy's better than the third pick in the draft. That's how good Jimmy is. Nothing against Trey. He's better than the third pick in the – but if all of a sudden Trey Lance starts coming in and outshining Jimmy, then you just tanked your trade asset yourself.
So you believe that the 49ers may be prioritizing a trade asset above winning games, above developing their future quarterback?
They can win with Jimmy. They're 6-5 with Jimmy this year. But I don't see that they're like, there's no plan to win a Super Bowl this year unless they get lucky. And there's no plan to win a Super Bowl next year because they're playing all their vets. So, I mean, they're in like, hey, let's make the playoffs and see what happens mode, which is not my favorite way of building a team, but it's better than sucking. I mean, this team has had 4 playoff seasons since 2003. I like playoffs, but really, I mean, like this season, if they go to the playoffs and lose in the first round, I don't see it as a success, even though it will be their 5th playoff season since 2003. If they were playing Lance, you'd be like, man, this team's going to be even better next year. But when they lose eventually, you're like, what is this team next year? Is Jimmy coming back? Who's coming back? And is the team going to be better? Are they set up for next year? So to me, it's a really strange thing that they're not playing Lance. And you said, are they prioritizing this? Yes, I do.
Yeah, I do. We can agree on that. It's a very strange phenomenon that they're not getting him in at all because Steve pointed out that even if you believe he's not contributing on these packages right now, playing in your rookie year is something you want to do. Steve was talking about how valuable that experience is. He would get better week in, week out in these packages. So maybe he's not contributing right away, but we know that he is, to your point, that he has scored on a couple of those instances where he's been brought in the game. You would expect the percentage of contributions to go up as he had more and more experience. We can agree on that.
Real quick. Like, so they get down to the 7-yard line, right?
Yep.
So you're first and goal at the 7. You have 4 plays. 4. You could call 1 for Trey Lance.
Oh, yeah.
One of them. But no. To me, like, you can't tell me he's not ready to run the ball left. Was he going to fumble? Is he that? We've seen him do it. So there's got to be something more here. There's got to be something more than meets the eye. And to me, it's like, I mean, clearly he's not that much better than Jimmy Garoppolo that he's just going to win over the team and make it apparent. But the idea is that, if it's close now, he could improve with time. But I really don't think that the organization wants to give up on Jimmy Garoppolo like that. And I don't think the locker room does either. So I think, look, it's quite an ambitious play to say we're going to trade for the number 3 pick, draft a quarterback, but then try to still preserve Jimmy Garoppolo's trade value like you didn't just kill it. But that's
very ambitious.
That's the game they're trying to play here. And I think they're trying to do it by saying, okay, well, we traded for Trey Lance and that made Jimmy look bad, but Jimmy beat him out. And we like Trey, but Jimmy's better than that kind of thing.
Yeah, I go back to winning above all else. I don't think they held on to Jimmy to then get something out of trading him. I think they held on to Jimmy to maximize their wins this year. And it's a failed transitional plan, but I don't think it's about the trade value to me.
Man, I feel you. But if they were gonna win, if winning above all else was the mantra this season, I just don't understand their play calls those last 4 plays. I mean, damn.
That makes
last two
us,
throws
Grant.
to Trent Sturfield.
Would you do that in the
playoff game? Would you do that in the playoff game? Would you let that come down to Trent Sherfield? Like even on the last play, like he was open. Who's to say he would have caught the ball? He dropped it on 3rd down. He literally dropped it on 3rd down. Like let's give him one more chance. It's
Brutal.
Trent Sherfield, everyone, and his 25 career catches. I'm sorry.
Brutal.
Last Second Sports says, I assume Trey talking to the media is learning to be a pro that everyone refers to. Am I wrong? He doesn't speak English. He's going to have to learn how to speak English. Currently, he only speaks Esperanto, which is a little-known language. It's universal language. Chris says the main problem with Trey Lance's situation is no one is saying anything at all. The organization owes the fan base something, personal opinion. Yeah, come out and be like, hey, something to make the fan base. I do feel like a significant portion of the fan base is starting to feel like young. They're like, hey, well, look, all we can think is that this kid sucks. Yeah, he's Jordan Love.
I got both my hands up here because I'm that guy that wants what Chris is talking about here. I'm the guy that wants Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch to provide me with answers. You sold me a bad bill of goods at the beginning of this season. You sold me on that. You broke my heart, John Lynch. And now I want an explanation. Now I want to know why we are where we are right now. I need to know why those packages are not coming in. And it's throws me out of rhythm thing is not sufficient for me.
No.
But I don't want those answers from Trey. I want those answers from John and Kyle.
I think it's interesting that Kyle blamed himself. I really think that Kyle wanted Trey Lance and has found it. But it's been surprised that his team wasn't right there with him. I think John Lynch is Team Jimmy. Traded for Jimmy, has defended Jimmy every step of the way.
Yes,
at their post-draft press conference. No. When they made the trade, the first thing out of John's mouth was, I just want to say that, I called Jimmy and I reassured him and he's doing okay. Like, who cares? I'm sorry. He's the past, right? But not for John. John loves Jimmy.
And they had to try to prop him up, right? They cut his legs out from under him with the move, and then they tried to prop him up with some crutches.
Go lead our team to a Super Bowl, even though you won't be here next year. Okay. Anyway, I don't buy that he's not ready to play at all. I think he should have played last week against Seattle. If with Elijah Mitchell and possibly Deebo Samuel not playing this week, I think he should play this week. And I think that the decision not to sprinkle him in as a Taysom Hill type quarterback, which was the plan in the preseason, has cost them one game last week.
Yes.
And could cost them more if Deebo Samuel and Elijah Mitchell don't play. So they need to really think about this. It's not a must-win game, but risk, what are you losing? What are you gaining? How much would it cost you to put him on the field? Something to think about.
Absolutely. There's no excuse at this point. And this week sets up to be a game where it's needed. We talked about needing creativity in the run game. Nothing more creative than 11-on-11 football.
They're trading Lance to Houston for first rounders and signing Watson.
That doesn't strike me as Occam's razor right there. That seems like a fairly complicated explanation.
That's like the real QAnon. You really think Jed York is going to bring Deshaun Watson? Is Deshaun Watson any closer to getting out from under those 27?
I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. But
I mean, has he? Is there any?
Not that I'm aware of. There were rumors that he was looking to settle before the trade deadline, but then Miami didn't make the trade, and so he didn't make the settlement.
All of those cases would have to get dropped. For York to, I don't see it.
And even if they were dropped, there would still be that shadow hanging over him. And San Francisco is not a place that wants to deal with that type of drama.
If they were dropped, you'd like to think that maybe it was wrong. And it was, but
correct.
Save that. I don't see it happening. Maybe somewhere else. Rodman Sanchez says, what do you guys, and I think that's also why he didn't get traded at the deadline. I think teams are being like, well, we're going to need to see, nothing's changed. We're going to need to see a little bit. We're going to need some time.
That's a lot of accusations.
I mean, really, what if you trade for the dude and then it all falls down on his head and it was true? I mean, what did you think was going to happen? Why did you do this?
You're probably looking at a year suspension by the NFL.
Everyone gets fired. I mean, yeah. Rodman Sanchez says, what do you guys think about what Peter King said that he thinks the Niners would stick with Jimmy in 2022. Do you think the organization leak it? Yes. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yes to both
my
parts?
theory is that it's well, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, yes to both parts? Are you saying yes, you do think he could be there in 22 and the team leaked it?
I think John Lynch was never really into the Trey Lance thing. I think John Lynch thinks Jimmy Garoppolo is a franchise quarterback.
Interesting.
And that I think he thinks, I can't prove it. I'm not saying he leaked it, but I think this is John Lynch. I think he's a Jimmy Garoppolo guy. I think he thinks that Trey Lance was like a Kyle Shanahan tantrum. Oh, we went 6-10. Kyle always blames someone. He blames his quarterback. I need a new quarterback. I think what Lynch thinks is that over time, Kyle will calm down, come to his senses, realize that he is way too hard on Jimmy, and that Jimmy's really a friend. I disagree with John. I don't think that Jimmy's a franchise quarterback. I think he's an expensive bridge quarterback.
Right. Interestingly, though, if you listen to Steve pretty closely in that interview, he implies that Jimmy is more than we think he is as well, right? He implies that if Kyle Shanahan just had greater trust with Jimmy Garoppolo, that he thinks Jimmy could be the guy. I see this much more as the second part being true. I absolutely believe that the organization leaked it. And I think that does go back to your theory around the 49ers attempting to maximize trade value. That I think they want to say, well, we may keep him. You know, if we don't get a good offer, he may be the starter here, but I think they have zero intention of that.
If you go back and look at the quotes from Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch all offseason, when they were asked about the quarterback situation, John Lynch always would give the answer, Jimmy Garoppolo is our guy. That's the end of it. Unequivocally. Jimmy Garoppolo's our guy. That's the end of it. And then when Kyle was asked about it, he'd be like, well, this year's a little different because we only have one guy under contract. So we have one guy under contract. So we're going to have to really spend some time. He would hem and haw and not answer the question. John was real clear. Jimmy's our guy. He said it over and over again. And there were reports that the Niners were looking at guys like Joe Flacco. I believe that John's plan for the offseason was to stick with Jimmy and improve the backup quarterback position. He probably was like, dude, Nick Mullins, Kyle, that's your guy. He wasn't, can we just get like an Andy Dalton type or a Joe Flacco type? And Kyle's like, no, we got to trade 3 first-round picks and a third. You know what I'm saying? And so they went with Kyle because Kyle has the last word in the organization. But, you know, that's what I think, and I have zero evidence, but to me, it all makes sense. So that's my story.
And there's no evidence that directly contradicts that concretely. No. But I would say there's also evidence that could support an argument that they were much more in lockstep, but that John is just, as an ex-player, very conscious of what the organization did to Jimmy in taking his legs out from under him and felt bad about doing that. And therefore, his comments reflect that feeling of like, ooh, we treated Jimmy pretty dirty this offseason, and now we're asking him to be our starting quarterback for the year. I should probably walk back some of the actions that we took with my words.
He really likes Jimmy Garoppolo.
He does.
Everyone likes Jimmy Garoppolo.
Jimmy's a very likable guy.
Very likable guy. And again, like, the Patriots entrusted the 49ers with him. You know, they could have sent him anywhere. Wasn't that they could have sent him to Cleveland? Wasn't that the little rumor?
Yes, they were it was. No. Cleveland made a big offer.
No. We don't want to send our boy anywhere. He's our chosen one.
Homegrown.
Trust John Lynch. And John, probably, you know, you don't want to get on Bill Belichick's bad side. He trusts in me, and I just, you know, no. That they've got to do right by Jimmy. Jimmy is kind of football royalty. He's a, you know, I don't know why, because he was in the same quarterback room as anyway.
Yes, he shared coffee with the GOAT.
And they're not, you know how the 49ers, the Warriors were always very kind of scared of Kevin Durant. And even when he was on the way out, they were like, Kevin's the greatest. Kevin's the best player in the league. Like, you don't have to, maybe Curry's the best player, but they always bent over backwards. But Kevin is the greatest. I feel like Lynch does a little bit with that with Jimmy. Like, look.
Interesting, because they're starkly different players.
I respect you. Like, I don't want to have a bad reputation. Don Yee, look, I'm doing right by Jimmy. All that kind of stuff. Like, man, you've given him $100 million. You've done right by Jimmy.
Can't argue that.
We got that. Peter King. There's one more. Hold on.
7NP paid to come in.
You're Kyle freaking Shanahan figured out. Yeah.
Amen to that. Amen to that. Figure out how to use the offensive weapon.
Wouldn't keeping Garoppolo as a backup next season be detrimental to Trey Lance's developing as a full-fledged starter? That's like breaking up, but your ex still living with you and your new girl.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah, I think it's kind of weird, but it's also kind of weird right now. It's like you haven't broken up just yet, but you got your next girlfriend downstairs being like, all right, when you feel like leaving the house, I'm going to start my next relationship. But whenever you feel like, until you leave, we can keep this going.
Yeah.
Because you're my girl.
I still got this girl, but we're
Just
next,
know that,
right?
yeah,
As soon
you're
as
not
this
the
is
future.
over,
We have no
next.
future. And the girl that is the future is right there, but you're the present. You're my girl for now.
And
that great?
the relationship
Isn't that
now is
wonderful?
functional, but what we're seeing doesn't give us any confidence that the relationship with Trey is going to be functional, because we haven't really seen that Kyle can use him. We haven't seen that Kyle trusts him. We know he doesn't trust Jimmy Garoppolo, but we don't have any evidence that he trusts Trey. If he trusted Trey, wouldn't he be working him into these game plans?
I don't know. Let's see how many more games they lose with no run game and no Debo Samuel. I'm curious. Look, man, I think Kyle, here's the way I look at it. I think Kyle wanted to replace Jimmy. That didn't go over so well.
Yes.
And then he was like, all right, okay. How about 2 quarterbacks? And that didn't go over so well. And now he's like, all right, well, have it your way. See what happens. I'm the only one that wants this in the organization. So let's see how far this goes until people see it my way. Okay, fine. That's fine. Okay, that's fine. I don't know. That's the way I see it. Because he can't fight the whole organization if they want this.
No, you can't.
He can't. Everyone knows Kyle's record without Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not Bill Belichick. He doesn't have carte blanche to do whatever the hell he wants. One of the good things he has going for him is that the team likes him, even though he's 6 or 7 games under 500. He's got to keep that going. And Jimmy, they like Jimmy too.
They love Jimmy.
I don't know how they feel about Trey. Maybe Trey smells bad. Maybe he has halitosis. Ryan says, how can Kyle truly trust Jimmy this last game? Ayuk and Sherfield were skiing wide open for TDs. Jimmy misread both. And, dude, he doesn't trust anyone, Kyle. He doesn't like any quarterback he's ever had. He's John Gruden 2.0. I'm sorry.
Trust issues.
He really thinks he should be the quarterback. Deep down inside, if you ask him, Kyle, do you think you should be the quarterback? He'd probably be like, I'm not going to say you're wrong.
And wide receiver.
Yeah. All right, this was a very long show. Rob, thank you.
Thank you. I'm pleased to now go live on my channel, which will be an abbreviated show, but this one was just too good.
In Lance's first year of the Niners, done him dirty, broken promises, practice squad, etc. What do you think?
Have they done him dirty? Absolutely. It's why I don't want him trotted out in front of the media.
That's your whole point. That's your whole point.
Yeah, I think they have done him dirty.
Will be nice. You know what would be cool? I'm with you. Okay. So here's what the Niners can do since they all created this.
Yes.
You put Trey Lance out there, but you have John Lynch sitting right next to him and Kyle Shanahan, the 3 of them. How about that? How about that? Because look, you have to comply with rules, but you have to also acknowledge that that's a tough situation for that kid that you created.
Very tough.
Sit there with them.
That to me creates an even worse storyline. Now you're putting him out there, but now you're saying he can't handle the questions by himself. No, the reality is you are supposed to answer these questions because you created this crap show that is currently going on. And when I say you, I mean John and Kyle.
Unleash Trey Lance. You can hand off 30 times as well and make it 11 on 11. Just saying, yeah, I think if you can run the same plays, the same handoffs. But if with Trey Lance, I think you average more yards per carry because it's 11 on 11. Agree. Okay, that's the end of the show. Yeah, everyone go watch. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say I would start with fewer snaps than just turning the entire game over to him, but get him in there. I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Raider game. Do the Raider. With the Raider game, they were literally switching off snaps just so they could hand off. I thought it was brilliant. I loved it. I loved it. It was my favorite. It was my favorite game plan of the year. It was preseason.
Yes.
Dust it off. No one's scouting that, Kyle. They would never see it coming. Cincinnati, I promise. I won't tell them. I'm going to walk down to Kyle Wright. I'm going to walk into their meetings and be like, guys, 2 quarterback system.
I've had some insights.
I had an epiphany.